45, Dave?
No, it's 46 now.
46. So we have a quorum. Okay, everybody seated? Okay, we'll start with the President's report. Under the President's report, we've had 3 meetings so far. And 1 was great and 2 were bad. 2 that were bad probably had something to do with it. I had people take the microphone and yell at me and curse at me and insult me, and I did the same thing, and I shouldn't have done it. I'm the president, I should be above that. So it won't happen again. But I have to tell you, the people who do that to me, do it in this room, they wouldn't dare do it outside this room. And it's hard. It's hard to be up here and have people abuse you and not be able to talk back. But I'm going to do it because I have to do it because I'm the president. Okay, we go to minutes of the meeting. Alan?
Good morning and thank you for coming. The minutes of the February meeting and the minutes of the January meeting are both in the March edition of the Cobrua report. Has anyone found any omissions, corrections, or additions to those printed minutes? Are there any objections to accepting the minutes as published in the Cobrua report? Yes? Okay, then the minutes are accepted. Thank you.
Okay, as you all know, we had an election for the M&O committee. Fred Hadley's the chairman. Now it's time for Fred to give us the reports. Fred, it's all yours.
Thank you, Michael. Good morning, delegates. My name is Fred Hadley. As Michael said, I was elected president or chairman of the election committee. And I thank the ones who supported me in that endeavor. There were 4 candidates for the Management and Operation Committee to fill 3 open positions. Dave Merzon has withdrawn his name as a candidate, leaving the remaining three candidates unopposed. In alphabetical order, they are Dave Fisher, Lynn Roberts, Stanley Siegel. I will now ask the recording secretary to cast the vote for the unopposed candidates.
The recording secretary officially casts 1 vote for each of the 3 unopposed candidates.
Thank you, Alan. So those 3, along with Al DiPetrero, Mike Limongelli, Ted Spar, and the fearless Charlie Rosenfeld, are the 2021 M&O Committee. Thank you very kindly.
Thanks, Fred. You did a very good job. Thank you. Okay, Dave, we've got 2 Daves. We've got 1 Dave coming on, welcome, and 1 Dave leaving. We'll miss you, Dave. You were good on the committee, had some great ideas. Okay. Treasurer's report, Lynn?
The month-ending balance of checking account is $18,288. The CD is $52,606 for a total of $70,894. Last month's balance was $67,506. Any questions? Thank you.
Okay, Steve Son, security report.
Good morning. Security report for the month of February 2021. We patrolled 4,920 miles, called in 3,020 visitors, had 3,586 contractors, and another 3,500 food deliveries. This last month, there were 6 crimes reported in the village. 4 of them were embezzlements and frauds, and 2 were resident upon resident assaults. No other crime other than that. Last month at the pools, we had 93 instances of violations. Security, in addition to going to the pools and going to the gates, we also report maintenance issues throughout the village, and we assist residents. This last month, we helped with lockouts, returned a lost dog, changed the tire of a resident at the gate, and we do things like report irrigation leaks, damage to landscaping. We cleared debris from the roadways, lights that are out, and signage that's down. So security does a lot of things that people don't see, and we do this to help the village. Any questions?
Okay, yes, we have one here and we have Fred Hadley. I see you, Fred. And we have none. Go ahead.
No volume.
Thank you. You mentioned that there were several cases, it was either 2 or 3, of embezzlement or fraud. How does our security get involved in embezzlement or fraud cases?
We don't, except for information to publicly assist residents and let them know the type of schemes that are out there. On Channel 63, we put various helpful hints of what to watch for. And we ask anybody, always be careful when people come and try and call you over the phone, or they solicit you over the computer, or they call your phone at home and you don't know who they are, just hang up. Those are things you can do to protect yourself.
Right, so it's just a preventive measure and not that you have...
Right, we only do preventive, but
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Fred Hadley had his hand up. Fred?
Yes, thank you, Michael. Steve, I just want to commend one officer in particular, Noel. He's been very responsive when we've had unauthorized guests at the Cornwall pool, conducted himself very professionally, and I think you're doing a great job with these guards. They're in a very tough position of trying to enforce the pool rules, but this gentleman, Noel, I want to single out. He's been especially vigilant and responsive. Now, while we're on that subject, I know, Steve, you were out there when we had the injections. Can you tell us approximately how many people received the injections during the vaccination period? Is there a count? I know we had 4,000 allotted, but how many are actually jabbed?
They don't have, maybe Mike, you would know.
Stanley can tell him. Stan?
Roughly under 3,500.
Okay, and right now, we're in the winter. I think our population is probably somewhere 6,000 to 8,000 people. And of course, a lot of our residents didn't qualify because they were under 65. Now, I know that they've just announced we're going to get to the 60 to 64 range this week. So my question is, in today's Palm Beach Post, the Center for Disease Control says that we should still follow preventives, such as mask, distancing, washing your hands, and they also said avoid medium to large gatherings. Now, in the past 2 weeks, there's been an outdoor concert held in Ainsley Association that were what I would consider medium to large gatherings. Some were wearing masks, some were not. Some were distancing, some were not. Now, I understand that that's probably not under your jurisdiction if it's not in a SunWest location. But I also would like to say that something needs to be stated. Although these associations are autonomous, we're one village, one community. If one association, and I called up the president, Susan Meltzer, and her attitude was, if anybody wants to go, let them go. If anybody doesn't want to go, don't go. But the problem is the ones that go walk down my catwalk, your catwalk, in elevators. These can be super spreader events. I don't think the time is now for us to be lowering our vigilance on the COVID crisis. And I know that there's nothing you can do by way of enforcement, but I just feel it needs to be stated that we have to keep following the CDC guidelines. And these outdoor events that attract maybe 100 or 200 people are really not the right thing to do at this time, even though they might be permissible. Do you have any comment on that? I know security was called and did respond. Can you tell us? Pardon? I can't hear.
Why was security called?
When were they called?
Why?
Oh, they were called because this gathering goes against the CDC guidelines and can be dangerous as far as transmitting COVID. And even if you've been injected, the CDC says you can still be a carrier and transmit it to others. So I just want to say it needs to be stated on the record that we still have to keep following these guidelines because, and by the way, figures are not necessarily going down. The positivity rate seems to be going up. So I just want to make it clear that this is not the time to let our guard down. Thank you.
Lynn, did you have your hand up? Oh, Dave.
To this. Does security have any thing to do with tagging, unregistered cars? Or is it just up to Sinwest? I mean, up to the directors and First Service?
Security will respond to matters of illegal parking, someone parked in your spot, but if a car doesn't have registration, that would be up to your association First Service to report and tow if that's in your
Right, so
docs.
security does not tag any cars.
We will, not with stickers. We have not. We will go and provide notices.
Specifically for stickers.
No, that was not us.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, yes.
How do you do? My name is Robert Seibel. I'm an attorney for over 40 years. My parents moved into the Century in 1979. The name of the chapel on the main synagogue is named after my sister, Barbara Seibel. My father and I donated substantial money. So I've been coming to Century since 1979. That's a long time, over 40 years. In 38 years or 39 years, I never saw one dog on this entire premises. Not one, not one. Now, in the last year, all of a sudden, everybody seems to be getting a support dog. Now, I happen to be an attorney. I've represented people who've sought to get support dog allowances in condos in Val Harbor, in Miami, in Fort Lauderdale. I employ 10 lawyers in my firm. I'm the owner of the firm. With this said, it is getting disgusting now because I walk around the village every night. I do my nightly walk. There are some people who are not, quote, picking up after their dogs. And I have to see their discards on the sidewalk. It is absolutely disgusting. And something needs to be done about it. There's not enough to just put up an occasional sign. There has to be penalties. And frankly, if I see somebody doing that, I'm going to turn them in not only to the Century people, I'm going to call up the police and we're going to have them arrested. Because to me, this is outrageous. And people are taking license now and people are getting dogs when they don't need them. I see couples that have dogs. I see larger dogs suddenly that went from being tiny little support dogs, little terriers and little, whatever, dachshunds and chihuahuas. And now the dogs are getting larger and larger. And in fact, this is becoming a public nuisance. And I will be damned to see that I gotta live and I live in a corner apartment. My apartment's worth over $200,000, and I gotta see this problem now on a daily basis. Now, something needs to be done, and security. I also have another issue, which I'll wait for another time to discuss later in the meeting. It has to do with the roads here at the Century. But this is a security problem. I want to bring it to your attention, and I demand that something be done about it. And considering that I've been living here with my family for 40 years, my folks are now deceased. My father founded the repertory company here at Century. He was a star, Charles Seibel. Most people who live here a long time will remember my dad. He was the star of shows for about 15 years. So we're royalty in this community. All right, that's it.
Okay. I have a question. Someone was parked in my parking spot, and I called security, and they told me they no longer put the stickers on the car. And I'm on the M&O committee, and no one ever told me that they're not putting stickers on the cars anymore.
No, we're not putting the glue-based sticker. We are doing the paper notices.
They told me they put notes on the car. I could put a note on the car. They told me they put notes on the cars. And it was my understanding, and on M&O, one of my duties is security, no one came up to me, and if I didn't call to have someone removed from my spot, I never would have known that they're not putting stickers on the cars. When did this happen? You know, sit down, sir. Sir, sit down. Sir, sit down. Sir, please. Sir, this is a meeting. You're a lawyer. You know how meetings are conducted? So, please, sir, please. So, Steve, could you tell me when it started?
The non-sticker, we put the notes in the car.
We do the notes. I was informed by the administrator over it.
Sam, I remember you put stickers. I saw stickers put on the car.
The ones that that glue on,
Yeah.
we're not supposed to. It's supposed to be like a.
No, I think that we should put stickers on it
Mike.
instead of notes.
Mike, if I can answer Mike's question, it goes back to Anita Pierce when she was administrator, and I was a violator, and I got a sticker on my car, and you couldn't get the thing off. It was impossible, and I spoke to Anita at that time, and she said that she had a lot of complaints about the stickers because they could not be removed. You had to get a scraper and remove, you know. Anyway, she said she had a supply of them left, and when that supply ran out, she was not going to order any more, and from then on, she would use something that would be removable, because there were just too many complaints about the sticker being so permanent.
Well,
That would be fine, but that's not what we had.
yes. Okay, all right. You gotta wait to get recognized. Okay, Mr. Greenberg.
Thank you.
Go.
Steve, can you answer the question? What did you do when you went to the Ainsley, well, whatever it was,
Concert.
the concert?
Our authority.
Ainsley concert or whatever it was.
Yeah, I know.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I want to know what security did, you know, there when they went.
It's on private property. It was observed and reported. Our authority ends outside of Send West property. I cannot tell an association to have a gathering or not have one. It's on your private property.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. You want to take the mic, please?
Don't come.
Notice he didn't say it was okay. He just said we can't do anything about it. Take away.
Joel Walensky from Ainsley. I want to point out, in response to Fred, my friend Fred, that the Ainsley concert was outdoors on 2 very cool and windy nights, and virtually all of the people there, with a couple of exceptions I would imagine, were vaccinated. And the CDC now approves of gatherings of that nature. Secondly, it's my understanding from friends who live in Deerfield Century Village that they're conducting outdoor concerts, outdoor movies for their residents, and if they're doing it, why don't we? I also have another issue I'd like to bring up.
Listen, I allowed this on the floor. It really should be allowed on the floor, but it's an important issue. It's really an association issue. But I think everyone here should listen to it and see what the resolution is. It's a Ainsley Association matter that should be discussed. If anyone has a complaint, they complain to security. That's it. We don't want to carry on with this because it's really not a issue that should be looked at by Cobrua. It's between Ainsley and Ainsley's residents. It's an Ainsley Association. They decide what they want. And if it's illegal, call the sheriff. That's it. No more on that subject.
Michael, I have another issue I'd like to address, which I believe may be related to security. There are several of us here in this room who work or volunteer for the COP program with the sheriff.
Okay.
Now, we've been effectively barred from the village, and that's the village's business. But we are the only location, to the best of my knowledge, in Palm Beach County that doesn't let the drivers of the vehicles go to their apartments to go to the bathroom, to grab a bite, to get a drink, to take your medicine, or whatever the case may be. why are the drivers who are not patrolling in this village not allowed to go to their apartments in the sheriff's car and use their facilities?
I don't know if any, as long as you, it's my understanding, as if you're going home to have lunch, let's say you're going home to have lunch. I don't know if there's any rule here that prevents you from going home to have lunch.
We were advised by the sheriff's office that there is a ban from someone in this facility on the drivers bringing their cars into the village for any purpose, including bathrooms. And if you're not opposed to that, I wish you would make it known to the powers that be, including our sheriff, that we are welcome to bring the vehicles in here for purposes of visiting
Why don't you have
our
the sheriff,
residents.
have the sheriff's department contact us, and then we can see what the reason is, and we can straighten it out.
You don't want to contact the sheriff, though?
I'm not contacting them.
Of course.
It's your complaints, you can contact them, and
Well,
have them
Michael,
contact me, and.
Michael, I was present at the meeting when you threw us out.
I didn't tell you that.
You most certainly did.
Am I a sheriff? Am I a sheriff? If I'm a
Michael,
sheriff,
You don't want to go there, Michael, because I was at that meeting and so were several others.
Excuse me.
I said,
Who forbids you from coming into Century Village? Mike Limagelli or the sheriff? I'm waiting for an answer, sir. Who is preventing you, sir, from coming into the village? The sheriff or me?
Michael, it started at a meeting
That's not the
in
answer. It's a
November.
yes or no.
I'm answering the question, Michael.
Yeah.
You told us that you were going to
You don't have
bar
to yell.
the
You don't
sheriff.
have to yell. I can hear you perfectly.
Well, then please don't talk over me. You told us at the meeting that we must listen to what you say in terms of
No, I
gas.
did not say
You
that.
most certainly did, and you said you've got the sheriff's phone number on your phone. He's your personal friend, and you will call him and you will get us barred from the village. You personally, Michael, I was there. I can see at least 3 other people in this room who were there. So I believe it behooves you to remedy the situation,
No,
Michael.
No, it's not behooves me about this situation.
Right now, it's a moot point anyway.
Right.
You can't come in.
You can't come in.
There's no cop program.
Okay. Yes. Right. Yes, ma'am. So, I can't see. I got a background there. Go ahead. Go ahead. Talk to
Hi,
Steve.
my name is Richard Adelson. I'm in Fanshawe L. I'm speaking in behalf of the application for rental or sale of an
That's not
apartment.
security. That's not a security question. They can come up later on. Anything else for security? Anybody else have a question for security? Okay. Then we'll go to the next order of business, which will be Stanley Siegel with Community Affairs, and Stan, you might as well go right into M&O after that.
All right, community affairs, really, there was an article in the paper today where they're lowering the limits for people to get vaccine, age 60 at this point. But you have to get it at certain designated areas. So in the meantime, we're going to find out from our commissioner how we fall into that category. So that's the best I can tell you right now on community affairs. Any questions? Okay, I'm going to go into M&O. Our meeting with management was held Wednesday, February 17th. President for management was Judy Milliken, Vice President, Sun West Communities, Dan Cruz, VP Regional Facilities Manager, and Abby Kofler, VP Entertainment. The entire committee was present. Here are some of the highlights. We reviewed the plans for the theater renovation, and it looks like a really up-to-date facility. It incorporates all the ADA regulations that are required. At this point, we're waiting to find out if it meets our budget, and hopefully it does. Solar panels will be installed at the Brighton Pool, and that's going to be a test right now. 2 bus shelters will be installed on New England, and should make life easier for most of the residents. We're waiting for Senville Legal to let us know if we can put surplus theater seats in the media room. This will enable us to show movies in a more comfortable environment. We're going to be pricing tickets for the shows commencing this coming November. We're gonna have that meeting next week. California, which has been hardest hit with the COVID-19, is also where the bus manufacturers are located. So we're meeting next week with the Academy representatives to find out the status of our buses that are in production right now, and if they're going to be slowed down, any alternatives. So this we won't know until the 24th of the month. This year, Christmas falls on Saturday. The clubhouse will close Christmas Eve on Friday, and will reopen on Sunday morning. Saturday, we're going to be closed completely, similar to how it is on Thanksgiving. The November collections from delinquent accounts totaled $58,600, which is pretty good take. The Rules Committee is looking into the following areas. Boats on the lake, have to tighten up the rules there. Rules regarding the pools. There's been a lot of violations, a lot of closings, so we're looking into that. And we'll also be reviewing private tennis lessons given by residents, not the pro that we have. So I'd like to wish everybody an enjoyable and safe Passover and Easter holiday. Any questions? Hearing, whoops.
We have a gentleman over here, Stan. Thank you.
Yeah, that's being worked on, yes. Yeah, it's a little early right now. We're first going to be pricing tickets the next week, the 17th, and we'll see what kind of brochures or information are going to be distributed. So the answer is yes. You're welcome.
Any other questions for Stanley?
Hearing none, I close my section of the M&O report.
Okay. Old business. Anybody have?
No, budget.
What's that?
Have to vote on
Oh,
the
that's
budget.
right, the budget now.
All right, this year was the hardest year I've had as a budget director. The COVID-19 pandemic didn't help the situation. So you have copies in front of you, and right now, I'm saying we're probably going to end, originally I said there's going to be about a $3,000 deficit. We're in the midst of renegotiating the rental agreement for the Cobrua office. So right now, until the end of November, am I correct, Lynn?
Yes.
Till the end of November, we're paying the same rate that we have from the, previous contract or rental agreement. If everything proceeds properly, the increase, instead of being 5%, will be 4% for the remaining 3 months and the following period. So the good news is, based on this, and I haven't amended the budget, and I don't want to amend it, but we will have a decrease of that deficit of $1,700. So the deficit will be about $1,500. Now, to overcome this, that amount of money, we have a CD that's maturing July.
Yes.
Okay, I'm glad I have good support back here. The CD will help us reduce the deficit, which is going to be $1,500, and we'll have funds and no need to do anything else. Hopefully, our revenues for newspaper ads will increase, but I have my fingers crossed, and that's the best I can say. So at this point, even though I am projecting originally a $3,000 some odd deficit, it will be reduced to about $1,500, and we can overcome that. Any questions? All right, we have to have a motion to approve.
Yes, you have to have, Stanley needs a motion to approve the budget. And a second. Please give your name and where you live for this, so Alan could email me.
Any seconds? I see see a second back there. Looks like friend Bill Knowles. All in favor? I guess the ayes have it. Any negative? One negative, so I think we passed. All right, thank you.
Okay, do we have anything under old business? Anything under new business? Yes, sir. You want to take the microphone, please?
My name is Leroy Kruger, and my wife Susan Kruger. We live at Brighton H, and we used to run the sing-along karaoke before the pandemic, and we're interested in getting started again in the near future because of the new CDC guidelines. So I'm asking everyone to sign a petition to get it started soon because of the new guidelines that were just issued. And we would like to have it here in the party room because there's plenty of room here where we can socially distant, and we wear masks. We sterilize the microphone every time someone uses it, and the microphone has a cover on it, which I issue to anyone that sings, and they keep that cover. So every time they use the mic, they put that cover back on, and it's washable with soap and water. So everything is clean. The only time that a person removes their mask is when they're singing, and then they have to put it back on, and we social distance. So I'm trying to see if we can get that started. It would be nice for everybody. You have a free show. If you don't sing, you have a free show. You watch people sing, and it's very nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
May I suggest something? In lieu of a petition, you go to the front desk and fill out a form making your request, and the site administrator will review it with the committee.
He did that.
Yeah, I have the letter here. I'm going to present it today.
Okay.
I have quite a few.
No, I'm just trying to save
Yeah.
a lot of signatures.
Yeah, well, I got quite a few already.
The signatures don't matter. It's what the legal department of SendWest decides we can do and can't do.
Right, yeah. Well, I figured with the new CDC guidelines, they might...
That's why we have an attorney to, advise us.
Yeah. Okay.
But I'm just suggesting you'll save time with the signatures. Just bring it up to the office,
right, and
make a recommendation.
And I figured because they started the bingo, it'd be basically like the way they run bingo. It's safe, like with CDC guidelines. So there's no issue as far as safety. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. You'll come under, sir, you'll come under good welfare for the residents, okay? I'll call you, I'll let you know. The master, Dave, you'll let him know when, right, Dave? He'll tell you when I'll recognize you, okay? You'll be recognized, but he'll tell you when. Okay, anything else under new business? Anything else under good welfare for from the delegates? I have one thing to say on the good welfare. There's been a lot of rumors going on and stuff going on about, I moved on Cape from the Comcast, I guess, committee. And some of the presidents were upset and asking why. I just want you to know that I will be meeting with the presidents and we'll talk about this. Anything else on the good and welfare from the delegates? Okay, sir, where is he? Okay, the gentleman here has the floor first. Sir, this is your time. Well, after he's finished, this is the part where you can request to be heard, okay? This gentleman has the floor first. Yes, sir. What was that, sir? You talking about the lease? Yes. What I plan on doing, what I plan on doing is sitting down with the M&O committee, because I am a member of the M&O committee, and meet with see which direction we should take, because eventually, I probably won't be here in 2029, but eventually, you're gonna have to make a decision. Do you want to buy this place? You're gonna have to hire a management company? It's a big deal. It really is a big deal. Thank you for bringing it up, sir. We have discussed it at the M&O committee.
Mike, can I interrupt you for 1 second?
Sure, go ahead.
I've already approached Judy and asked her to get a legal explanation of what's involved when the lease comes up. So hopefully I should have some information within the next few days.
Okay, because this is a big deal, and thank you, I'm glad you brought it up, because the residents don't understand how important this is. This is either you're going to take over to buy the clubhouse from the Levy's and get your own management company, actually run Century Village. But that's a big deal. That's a big deal. So I know, Stanley, you are working on it. And since the M&O committee really will be involved in that, from now on, Stanley will bring you up to date on that, because that's really an M&O committee thing that should be discussed with them. But if you have questions that you don't think the M&O committee is not doing what they're supposed to do, you can bring it up here.
Mike,
Okay?
I have to take exception with you. I don't think it's an M&O matter. I think it's a matter for the executive board of Cobrua, because that's the composition of the presidents of each of the associations. And I think that's a more likely
You think
place.
so? Sid, because, you know.
It just seems to me that our interests do not always align with Sen West, especially when it comes to a contract between us and Sen West. Why would we rely on a legal opinion from Sen West when in this situation we could very well be adversaries? Again, I don't practice law anymore, but I don't think it belongs with M&O. I think that it belongs with the presidents, and actually not even the executive board. It's really with the presidents of each association. But again, that's just my opinion.
I'm trying to get a overview of what is involved in the takeover. I'm not saying that we're going to follow the legal opinion of the Sen West attorney. I just want to know what are the ground rules for this takeover, or what's involved. So let's first get some information, then we can discuss it, period.
We have, she had a hand up, and then we'll get to you. Yes, Ross.
Ross Rossman from Yarmouth. When we start to think about taking over what Sen West properties are, including the ground under each and every building, you have to realize that every single improvement that was made and every change that was made now belongs to management. The Levy's own everything under each building, as well as the recreational facilities and the improvements that were made here in the clubhouse. This is going to be a monumental amount of money. I personally don't see how we can afford to think about it. I think we just have to consider what can we negotiate with the Levy's in order to make it more comfortable and possibly less expensive for residents. There's much more than takeover. It's a simple word. It encompasses millions of dollars.
Thank you. This woman up here had her hand up. When he gets there with the mic so everyone can hear you, okay? He's right behind you. You don't have to stand up. He'll come to you. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Identify yourself, please.
Susan Ortsman, President, Director of Preston.
Okay, President.
Okay, Deerfield Beach, they're under their own ownership, so can't you go to Deerfield Beach, Century Village, and ask some questions
Yes,
regarding
we
this?
plan on contacting them because recently they broke away from the...
Yes, a couple of years ago.
Yes, we're thinking about doing that. Thank you for...
Thank you.
Thank you, we appreciate it. Anything else? Did you have your hand up, sir? Okay. Dave, there's a gentleman back there. You got the mic, sir? Okay, identify yourself, please.
Yes, my name is Richard Adelson. I'm at Fanshore L.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to speak about the application presentation today. You don't have to be a rocket scientist or a brain surgeon to see the problems in having management receive 3 copies printed of this Fanshore application when my 2-page application is more protective of the unit owners.
What is this? Excuse me, I don't want to interrupt you.
No, let me finish first,
Is this for
please.
your association?
Yes, this relates to.
I'm sorry, sir. That's, you have to take that up with the association. We have no
No,
control.
no, this relates to Cobrua, and I've spoken here before, and I'd like to give this presentation now.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, go ahead.
You have to be complacent or uncaring if you accept the Preston application requiring 2 copies of this 17-page application, which my 2-page application accomplishes the same thing. This is especially important when the approval can be made in 3 days instead of 30. Both applications contain house rules that are violations of unit owner rights according to Century Village's bylaws. They make it possible for a person who might be a thief, a pedophile, a mugger, a bad credit risk, a murderer, or previously evicted from Century Village to be approved to live here. These applications are responsible for costing our unit owners unnecessary emotional and financial expenses, as well as delays in having a buyer or renter approved. I have been advised that the board members will be meeting with a lawyer this month to review this application. It's extremely important that the board allow me to attend this meeting with 2 associates so that every contingency concerning the applications can be answered. I'm now asking this board to approve this
We
request.
can't do it. That's an association problem. I was nice enough to let you continue because you requested it, but it's really an association matter, sir. We have no control over that.
Who is the association? Sir, who is the association?
Where do you live?
Fanshore.
Fanshore is the
That's,
association.
you go to your next Fanshore meeting, or you fill out a request, tell
All right,
your
that's fine.
board how you disagree with what they're doing, and they have to vote to change
All right,
it.
then I will ask
Yeah.
Fanshore to do that.
Richie, your application and your paperwork was submitted to First Service. They are going over it, they're looking at it, and they're reevaluating what they're doing. Until that,
The important thing is.
they're looking at it, and they'll make a decision.
I've already
There's
received
still
a
work
reply.
that has to be done.
I received a reply from the manager of First
Sir, I
Service.
don't want to interrupt you, I really don't. But I can't have the vice president of an association speak to a member of the association here when we have nothing to do with it. If I could help you out, and if these delegates could help you out, we would, but we can't.
All right, I'm
So
letting
I'm
it be
sorry.
known that we want
Sir,
to be
I'm sorry.
present at
I
the
really-
meeting at the
You're gonna have
Fanshore
to stop
Association.
discussing this matter, please, thank you. Anybody else have something? Dave? Dave? Yeah, there's a woman here too, right in front. Okay. You gonna go up to the mic? Okay. Yes, sir. It's your turn, come on.
Mine?
Yes.
Thank you. It's wide open. Okay, so first of all, I want to return to the issue I brought up some minutes ago.
Raise the mic, sir, raise the mic just a little bit. Thank you.
Sorry. Again, I want to bring up the issue I brought up a few minutes back. Okay, nobody seems to have addressed it yet. You're talking about health, about masks and the COVID-19. To my knowledge, most of us have already gotten vaccinations. Now, granted, I'm as concerned as anybody about spreading any diseases, so we're all wearing masks. Fine. But what about the spread of health when we're dealing with dogs defecating on the sidewalks? This is a serious problem. It's a health problem. It's not just a garbage problem. It's a health problem. Now, that's issue number 1. Issue number 2 is much more profound, and that has to do with the roads in Century Village, okay? I live in Exeter B. Every time it rains, we get a lake in my parking lot. Why? Because the way the asphalt was put down years ago was done, in my opinion, and I happen to be a personal injury lawyer, negligently. And in fact, as a result, last year when they came here and sprinkled oil all over the tarmac, all that did was seep down and maybe fill some cracks. It didn't fix all of the terrible
Sir,
cracks.
I don't want to interrupt you, I know, but unfortunately, that's an association matter.
Wait a minute.
Don't tell me, wait a minute, sir. Please listen to me. I'm running the meeting, sir.
This
You
is
may
the
be
road.
lawyers, sir.
I'm talking about the roads in Century Village,
Sir,
not just in Exeter
That
Bay.
is not a Cobrua matter. Please
Wait a
listen
minute,
to me.
it's the roads in Century
Go to your
Village.
association
It's
and
not
tell
just
them you're
my
talking about the
association. It's not just my association. It's the roads
Sir,
throughout Century.
please, you're a lawyer, you understand how meetings should.
Sir, I'm a trial lawyer as well, and I understand exactly what you're saying,
Sir,
and you're
really-
screaming me
I'm really
down
trying to
for
be
an
very
issue
nice
that's
about
very,
this.
very important
Sir,
to the
I'm
entire
trying to be
village.
very nice about this.
And I am
It doesn't
too.
belong here, and you can't keep insisting on running the meeting. Please, it's an association meeting,
So you just want to table both of
your board.
them? What about my first issue? You don't want to respond to that either? The dogs
Sir, we've
defecating?
already heard what you said, everything does not belong here.
So there's no comment?
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
We're royalty.
Please. Yes, identify yourself, please.
Helene Harris Height. With
Thank
regard
you.
to the gentleman before this gentleman and this gentleman, I'm questioning, Mike, where is the right?
Could you move your mic a little closer, please, Lenny? Thank you. Go ahead.
What is the forum where associations can talk to each other and know what's going on?
The president's meetings. The
But no,
president's meetings.
No, I'm not, but are president's meetings open to everyone?
To presidents.
Okay, so my point here is, if the gentleman who spoke about the application, I agree, our application is insane that we use in Hythe. So why wouldn't we want to merge our similar questions? Why would you keep
You're correct. You're correct. And let me tell you how it works.
Okay, thanks.
Let me tell you how it works, okay? Because when I was new president, I really didn't know either, to be perfectly honest about it. And I asked questions like you're asking. Don't tap that thing, please. Thank you. What happens is the presidents meet once a month. And we discuss things that we feel should be the benefit for every association here in Century Village. Now, your president will have a problem with an application. Cornwall, they have the same one. We go to the presidents and we say, okay, listen, this affects everyone, what should we do? So they say, go to management, first service at this time. Tell them that you want to change it because the other 5 don't want to change it. So it becomes an individual association matter. So if you want yours reduced to 2, I know Cornwall does too, I agree with you. It's too many pages. We're going there and say on behalf of Cornwall, we want it done. Until all the presidents say we want it done one way, each individual association is going to have to go over there and request it, right? That's it.
I appreciate your explanation. I would just ask, perhaps Cobrua would consider some kind of get-together every once in a while where people can sit here like this and talk about the things they want to talk
You mean
about.
like that one meeting where you disagree with your president and your board and come here? We can't do that.
No, that isn't what I mean. What I mean is when that gentleman wants to talk about the dog waste, or the other gentleman wants to talk about the road problem, and he hears what you're saying, but he disagrees that it's really not association.
I know they're upset. I know they're upset.
So may
They
I
have no
then-
place to go. They feel that they go to their association and their association can't help them. So they come here, right? I understand that.
So again, that my only suggestion is maybe you could have some kind of open.
All I can tell you is I don't think it'll be done, but we will look into it.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Anything else? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you, sir. And, okay, come on up. Yes, go ahead, identify yourself, please.
Let me preface my comments by pointing out that I have a compromised immune system as a result of a kidney transplant. And my concern is the restrictions that now haven't allowed you to open your space primarily school. We've been at a restricted limit pretty much since school was open 6-7 months ago. And with clear between those that were done through the association, through the Cobrua several months back, as well as people who got on their own, probably 60, maybe 70% of the people here have been vaccinated. And I'm suggesting it may be the time to try to ease up on some of those regulations, primarily for the outside areas of the pool. I think we could add more seating into the pool. I think we could put the tables coming back, not all of them, certainly a certain number of them, especially now with the new guidelines just came out yesterday from the CDC. It seems to indicate the spaces, especially for people who have vaccinations, to be able to at least get out and do a little more socialization, and moving from the old normal to the next normal, eventually we may get back to others. And I'm suggesting that now may be the time, since obviously it affects all the associations, to look and see what can be done about those restrictions, and maybe even also at the same time, if everything makes sense, to also allow non-owners, some guests, to come in. It may eliminate a lot of the interaction with security and people at the pool who come in not knowing that it's restricted, and incidents flare up.
We can talk, the M&O committee can talk to Send West and see if some of the restrictions that you're talking about be done away with. We could do that, sir. Yes, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I brought this up a couple of months ago. I don't think I ever got an answer. In Century Village, in Deerfield, they've been showing movies in the party for months now. They're 6 feet apart, and it's working beautifully. In the party, it's free, and it works out very well. On their lawn, I see you put a tent up with the temple, which is on Senway's property.
No, it's not.
No, but that's okay, doesn't matter, go ahead.
Is it on the parking lot?
Go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, why can't they put some kind of arrangement outside? Century Village and Deerfield have had shows outside for an hour in the afternoon, and then the same time, and give people something to go to. They try things. They don't try anything here.
Okay. We will, so what you're suggesting is that we talk to management and possibly put up a tent with or in the party room here, with the right restrictions, have a show in the afternoon or possibly a movie, is that it? Okay, we'll look into it. I'm on the M&O committee, we have a meeting soon. Stanley's the chairman, he's right here, and so is other members of the M&O committee here. We'll bring it up, we'll have an answer for it. Okay, just bringing it up is not a promise that we're going to do it. But we will bring it up. We will, I promise you. Anything else? Yes, Fred Hadley.
Thank you. With regard to the gentleman with the dog question, I don't know if he's still here or not, but nobody's mentioned this, but we have to live under housing and urban development rules about these comfort animals. And you have to tread very lightly because you can get sued. I think everybody knows that.
Yeah.
As far as defecation on the sidewalks goes, there's no law against that. Nowhere in the United States. The law says you must clean up after your dog. So it's not the dog defecating, it's the failure to clean it up that he should be objecting to.
Yeah.
Moving on. Someone sent a letter into my newsletter that they heard a rumor that the sheriff is going to be driving, or not the sheriff himself, but agents, looking for expired tags in the driveway. I would like to know, is there a rule, and is this association by association, or is there a general rule? What is the requirement? My bylaws state that any vehicle that is operable under its own power can be parked in the Cornwall lot. I don't know that it says anything about registration. So I'd like clarification for that. And the third point would be, more than a year ago, a proposal to change the bylaws to relax the eligibility requirements was properly presented at this meeting. Somehow or other, it got lost. I know Mike Mangioli, our current president, agreed to file that proposed amendment, which very briefly, instead of having to be here for 9 months a year, that the eligibility be lowered to 4 months. This way we could involve snowbirds, people that might be able to make a valuable professional or governmental contribution to the village without necessarily living here year-round. So can I get an answer to those questions? Parking rules and what's going on with that
I will
proposed?
address the first one, and the chairman of the bylaws committee will address the second one.
Sure.
The first one is, I just received from the president of Ainsley the similar request. What's going on? I didn't know it was happening in Fanshawe. It didn't happen in Cornwall. I'm the president, or no one else said it. What I plan on doing is, I think it's against the law. If this is private property, I believe it's against the law. But I'm not a lawyer. So what I intend to do, and I promise the president of Ainsley, and I promise you and the rest of them, I'm going to contact the county. And I want to know what their code enforcement people are doing in Century Village, authorizing either cars being towed away and fining our associations. I will probably call them. I'm not going to make a promise for today because I promised somebody to take her out to lunch. So I won't make any promises tonight. But I'll look into it first thing tomorrow morning, Fred.
Michael?
And Ainsley, and she knows that I promised her the same answer.
Sure. Just so you know, I did send an email to the mayor of Palm Beach County, who's Commissioner Kerner, and also to our local commissioner, who is Maria Sachs. I'm still waiting for a response. I'm sure I'll get one.
I'm going to do. They're going to call code enforcement. I'm going to bypass that. I'm going to call code enforcement, ask for a meeting with them. I want something in writing because I don't believe I may be wrong. I don't believe that they belonged in our property, taking our cars without going to the association. And if a car is in my place, I have the same rules as you do. When I bought my apartment, the parking spot came with it. That's my property. I want to know why someone from the county is coming in and finding me and towing the car from my property without my permission. So I'm going to look into it. Hopefully I'll have it.
It's not your property, it's the association's property. They give you an easement to approach it.
What's that was? I'm sorry.
The right of use. You have the right of use, you don't have ownership of it.
Right. So I want to know what the county's doing here. Yes, sir. Take the mic, please, so I can hear you, please.
Michael, the other question you were going to have the secretary respond.
Let me answer this. We're still on the first one. Give an answer.
Is this on the same subject, the parking?
Yeah, come on up.
No, he has a new issue. Can we get my answer first?
Oh, yeah, okay.
There is a committee, they call it the bylaws committee, that reviews proposed amendments. The committee spoke electronically and came to a tentative agreement. However, we were advised that it wouldn't be official unless we met face to face. So we scheduled a meeting in March. We'll come to the April executive board meeting and report the results. And then we'll come to next month's delegates meeting and report the results of that here.
Alan?
So you don't have an answer yet, but you will.
Alan, with all due respect, can you cite who told you that Zoom or electronic meetings during a COVID crisis are not legal? Because all the columns I'm reading, and we had Lou Kaplan from Sachs and Kaplan appeared before the West Boca Community Council. You can see the video on my Facebook page. And he said that no court would ever throw out anything because it was not done face-to-face during a health emergency. So can you please tell us under whose guidance you are operating? Who told you that?
It was individual feelings of the 5 out of the 6 members of the group.
So wait a minute. In other words, you met electronically even though 5 out of the 6 didn't think it was right? You just said a moment ago that you were advised that by somebody else. Who would that entity be?
I think Alan misspoke, if I can intrude here.
Sid's on the committee.
Yeah, I think Alan.
Sid's on the committee, Alan. Go ahead, Sid.
Alan, I think you just misspoke. It wasn't that it's illegal, it's that we thought it was better if we sat down and discussed something instead of just giving a thumbs up or a thumbs down. So we are having the meeting today.
Okay, thank you. Yes, sir.
I'd like to return briefly to the issue of the lease expiring. As one of the ladies pointed out, there could be millions of dollars involved, and I'm wondering if we've established any kind of reserve fund for the potential purchase of the property should that become necessary.
You'd have to speak, sir, like Sid said, she corrected me, she was correct. You'd have to speak to your association and say, if they do this tomorrow, can we participate as one of the 16 associations and take over the property? So, listen, I want to know the truth. I'm the president of Cornwall. We have no money set aside for 2029 to participate in the taking over of the clubhouse and the other properties. We don't. So let me make a suggestion. Bring it up to your association, tell them, listen, in 2029, we may have to pay a portion, 16th, of taking over this property. We better have the money. That's what I would do, sir.
Thank you.
Anything else? Motion to adjourn. I need your name. Alan's going to yell at me if I don't get your name. And second, all in favor? Great meeting. Thank you very much.